Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very knowledgeable session that we have lined up for you, Freedom Revisited. Freedom Revisited in association and in collaboration with Merchant Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Ladies Forum, with a joint collaboration with Sonali's Cubo. I am the founder of Sonali's Cubo, Vaijayanti Pugalia. Before we begin today's session, let me introduce to you Merchant Chamber. Merchant Chamber is about 119-year-old, a very front-ranking chamber in Kolkata, and very actively participating in wide range of activities from trade, profession, services, and industry. And today's session is brought in conjunction with the MLF unit of MCCI, which happens to be the Ladies Forum, who works towards celebrating the achievements of women and also highlighting the issues of women. On the other side, we have Sonali's Cubo, an organization which has two facets. On one side, if the organization is working towards holding life education-based workshops, on the other side, it is dealing with social issues pertaining in the community and having a dialogue in terms of seminars and conferences. And today's topic that we have lined for you in discussion is Freedom Revisited. So panelists, welcome to an amazing discussion that we are about to start. And before we begin today's session, let me just warm it up by telling you that for most of us, the pandemic represents a completely unprecedented circumstance. It is a novel issue. At the same time, it is life-changing. In no recent history has an epidemic hit us so profoundly and so pervasively. It has thrown us off limits. It's reminding us of our physical fragility. It undermines our economic security. It has thrown havoc around our plans. Our daily life routines are topsy-turvy. And the most important part, we are isolated from our friends and neighbors. But we have to deal with this situation, not with fear and not with ignorance. And to discuss the same today, we have embodied an absolutely ravishing, because there are women on the other side of the panel, and at the same time, a very, very intelligent source of knowledge. And I would like to introduce my panelists for today. Our first panelist for today is Divyaji Agarwal. Besides being a homemaker, she is very fond of food and traveling and outdoor activities and trekking. She is a BA in economics from Stella Maris College, Chennai. Welcome, Divyaji.
Hello.
Then we have Prapti G. Jhajaria. She is the immediate past president of MCCI Ladies Forum. She is also the founder of The Glass Onion, which is her passion for food, which has now become a leading gourmet catering brand in Kolkata. Welcome, Prapti Ji.
Hello.
Snigdha Shah Agarwal. Now, Snigdha Ji is our current chairperson of MCCI Ladies Forum. She's a professional with experience ranging from mergers and acquisitions, corporate strategy to investor relations. Besides being in such a adhesive corporate sector, she's a mother of two beautiful children, and her hands are full with so much of activities going on at home in this time of lockdown. Welcome, Snigdha Ji.
Thank you. Very good evening to everybody.
So we have lined up an amazing topic today, Freedom Revisited. And I would like to start today's conversation with you, Prapti Ji, by asking you that we have called that this is an era which is being newborn, an era which a human is going to see in terms of education, in terms of social, in terms of economical changes. How far do you think this human is going to survive with all the changes that he has to imbibe now?
Hi, hello everybody. According to me, we humans have been running a rat race all this while totally being insensitive to our surroundings. COVID-19 will help us to reflect on many aspects in our life which we have ignored so far. The suddenness with which this virus has struck upon us and brought about uncertainty, fear, and panic will definitely see the emergence of a new human being. And it will radically change the modern world, thus defining a new normal. Definitely, we would be sensitive to our environment, and social consciousness will improve, thus heightening our emotional intelligence. Then there will be a permanent improvement on our personal health and hygiene, which will be here to stay.
Yes, because I think a lot of focus is being given to health and hygiene.
Yeah, and I think it will become the new way of life. And introduction of the digital modes of payment and other bursts of online activities and services which were never there before. And I think, yes, in education also, the students will have to make an adjustment because their learning has been mainly through classrooms. Now the Digital India version of the government will emerge as a new tool to aid education. And after this lockdown, new digital technology and online tools will help the student and teacher relationship and take it to a new level.
So too many adaptations, sorry Praptiji,
Yeah.
I'm barging in, but too many adaptations. I mean, we humans are not used to so much of digital adaptations.
That's
Yeah, but what do you think is a survive? Do you think, are we going to be focusing better than what we were? Do you think we'll be having some additional challenges because we're not used to this format of working?
Yes, I think we will. Like it will be both ways, though it can be time and cost effective, it will save time and it will become a more transparent way of communicating. But along with it, I think it will bring its own problems. Like if with the affluent class and the educated class, it might not pose such a big problem.
You're right. Very
But
correctly
with
said.
with the other masses, I think it will pose a bigger problem
True,
to get
true, very
adjusted
true.
to the new digital technology.
Very true, very true, and we will come to that. Where we do see, two different diaphragms, where definitely one section of the community is going to be really having a tough time dealing with the digital part, which is actually now the main mode of communication. Coming to you, Snigdha ji, what do you think when I ask you that kindness is going to be the new currency? How do you think kindness is going to be functioning?
I think kindness and compassion is going to be, the way in which we can take forward our life now. I mean, if you just look outside you, even if you travel, half an hour away from where you stay, you will see such, unbelievable conditions. I mean, I wonder sometimes that why is it that, we have such diversity and we are coexisting in a single world. It just makes us feel that, each one of us have to do our bit.
Yes, Praptiji, if you could so coming back to the question to Praptiji, I was asking, which is the best way to fight the fear and ignorance that we might be facing these days regarding the pandemic?
I think the first thing is to stay calm and not to panic. And the second would be to redefine ourselves, to evolve and show more compassion, because society is as strong as its worst affected member. And compassion is reaffirming our faith in humanity, that when we see people helping the needy, especially the frontline workers who are putting their lives in the line to help everybody.
True.
So I think together we can all prevent suffering, and in ways of small ways of kind word, maybe some encouragement, a simple prayer.
Yes.
By distributing food, just do our bit, and I think we'll be able to cope with this pandemic.
So that is exactly what when Signature break off, and I was asking her that kindness is going to be the currency.
Absolutely.
Is what you are highlighting. Yes.
And this pandemic has shown us that how ordinary citizens can also become heroes.
Absolutely.
True. And we all are heroes in our own way, and it is good to start with ourselves, pat our back sometimes, because I think getting into a discussion, and probably maybe it's a discussion which has got repeated again and again, but to remind us that the more we talk, the more we share, the more we learn, and more the ignorance is nullified. So Snigdha ji, we just talked while you were not there. We were discussing about the present education reformation which the government has initiated, and even Divyaji highlighted about the high stakes that we have for the future of education. Because as parents, we are very worried about the future of education, especially for our children, the work space for our children. But one very important thing which I find is, the partnership that needs to be formed now between a parent and a child, because everything is going to be online. The studies are online, the play dates are online, the off learning is actually online learning as well. So as a parent, what do you feel, Snigdha ji, about this partnership between child and a parent, which is a need of the hour today?
Very rightly said, Vajanti ji, because I think, we've all adapted really fast. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, you mentioned in my introduction. So my room, really resembles a Montessori house every morning.
True.
There are online classes, there are worksheets to be done, there are activities to be done. So, and the first week was very rattling. I didn't know how to kind of structure my days. But then we discussed this as a family, and I said that this is something that is going to last for a long term. It's not a very temporary phenomena. So the more easily we adapt to it, the quickly we get used to it, the better we will be at it. So now we've kind of gone into a rhythm. There is more cooperation from everyone's end. And at this point, I must say that, the schools are doing such a fantabulous job of kind of curriculum is going on as planned. They're sending out work regularly. There's, a way to give feedback. So I really appreciate that. And I think it's making us think out of the box way and really be creatively, think creative about education. So yes, I think partnership is a very, very big key here, where we can all collaborate and do things together.
Yes, but I think I completely resonate as two young children's parent that you just spoke of, because this is important. Most of the work, the detailing of the courses is laid down by the schools, and we are as parents monitoring it. But don't you think a lot of monitoring is also required, specifically in times that we are now, where we are hearing so much, with the little older children, where we just heard about, the boys' locker room case, or another case from our very own city, Kolkata. So that partnership between even older children and parents, where a talk is initiated, or the online work is monitored more now if it was not done previously. Don't you think even that is required right now? I think that, are you there with us? Snigdha ji, are you there with us? I think she is having again a problem with her internet, but I'm sure she'll be back to answer to that. So coming back to you, Divya ji, I'm very interested to understand your take on the new normal. What, according to you, is the new normal?
Well, this lockdown actually has shown us many positive aspects, as work from home wasn't normal earlier, but now it's become the new norm. Families will be at home, so the connect between the family members is also going to increase.
Definitely.
But for the lady of the house, she's going to have to be doing more multitasking.
In what way? I mean, like, how are you multitasking? And then I'm going to come to Prapti ji as well, because I think as entrepreneurs, as professionals, as chairpersons, past chairpersons of MLF, and in your own domain of work of being a homemaker or the founder of Glass Onion, I want to understand, how is it more work for you now?
Well,
how is it more work for you now?
Monitoring the online classes, and doing more online grocery shopping.
Okay.
Also learning different cuisines, trying out those new recipes which you've never done earlier.
True, true, true.
And also these online gym classes, which we were having this routine of going to the gym, but now you have to do your workouts without using the machines, which we've never done earlier.
So coming to lighter communication, Divyaji, one of the viewers wants to know that the lockdown is making us stay home so much. So what can do you think the survival with the spouses is tougher now, because we women are now more homebound, and we don't have that much of space, and the men are always around.
I think it's going to be a joint effort by both the spouse and the woman. And the men also have to now learn to be a little more compassionate.
True. True. And Praptiji, again, another viewer wants to know that, do you think the lockdown, and in fact, this is a very generalized, and even it has made me wonder, such an intelligent question, where she asks, do you think that lockdown has made us more tolerant?
Definitely. I think that is the new mantra for the lockdown.
Yeah.
Because
I think we're always so impatient.
Always in a hurry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't give a time to a thought or an action, or we need a reciprocation to what we have initiated it. So that patience level is not there, the tolerance level is not there. So Praptiji, what changes are you finding yourself now? We are so many days into the lockdown. Do you think from where we started to where we are now, do you find there is a mental change in you?
Definitely. I think, like you said, I've become more tolerant and giving more thought to and being more compassionate to other people's, empathizing with them maybe. And I think, yes, definitely it has. I think it's had made that change in all of us.
Yes, and what do you have to say to that, Signaji? Because I think this is such an important attribute to we women specifically. That is, we were anyway tolerant, and now we have to be more tolerant. I'm sorry, I may sound like a feminist there, but I will take the honor, not a problem. So, Signaji, what do you think? With 2 children, with a house packed with beautiful relatives, how do you think it has impacted your mental status?
I think definitely for the better. I mean, I think, the nature's cleansing itself. This is also self-cleansing happening. The first week was difficult. A lot of new things were going on. We didn't know how to go about it. But I think it's also shown me how intolerant I was. I think, and I feel quite bad when I look back and feel that, maybe I used to get irritable at small things, or, try and look for perfection everywhere. So I think it's also important to take stock of, your life, have gratitude, and, be tolerant towards every single thing in life.
True.
I think it's so important about, now you're spending time with every single person all the time at home. So people have mood swings. Your children don't want to do things at a particular time. They want to eat fancy. So, you have to balance out everything. So there's tolerance required on various fronts. There's so much negative news coming in all the time.
To add to that, Signaji, I think this viewer is totally going to grill us. When we just said that men need to be more compassionate, and there she is, we as women entrepreneurs and as shareholders now, Signaji, and you both as a past chairs, she has a question to ask. Do you think men were not that compassionate?
So maybe I can go first.
Yes, please do.
I don't think so at all. I think it's not really a gender bias over here. True. I think it's a very personal thing. And people show compassion in their own ways. Somebody may be showing it through corporate social responsibility in their company. Somebody may be showing it through to stray animals in the neighborhood. Somebody may be showing it to their immediate circle of staff.
Yes.
Even showing compassion to various things. So I think it's not a gender specific thing, but I would really say that, I think maybe what really comes out is that women tend to be naturally more compassionate. Maybe that's where the thought came from.
True.
And we try and, we get emotional more easily.
True.
But I think men are also very compassionate.
So Snigdha-ji, you are coming from a social venture sector where you are a social entrepreneur, you're a philanthropist.
Yes.
Now that this pandemic is here to stay for some time, how do you plan to reawake to a different philanthropy altogether? Do you think you're going to make any changes in terms of your attitude, in terms of your reach? Are you going to reorganize anything? So in general, why I'm asking you this is so many philanthropists around, including me. What do you have to say to us?
So that's a very nice question, Vaijayanti. I think, what we've been discussing in the philanthropy circles the last 2 months is that this is a long drawn problem, right? So we've been talking about this problem in 3 stages: relief, recovery, and resilience. So relief was, the first stage of this issue, where suddenly there was panic all around and we were wondering whether people would have food to eat. So everyone was in their own way was going out to supply ration, cook meals, making sure that staff who's not coming is taken care of, making sure salaries are paid. So that was the relief phase of it, which is still going on. The recovery phase is where we're actually going to take stock of the situation, look at people who've been displaced from their jobs, restart some skill training programs, make sure enough funding is going to the larger problem at hand, because even the government is taking care of the hungry and things like that. So we don't want the donor fatigue to set in before they actually do contribute to the recovery phase.
Yeah.
And the third phase, that is resilience, is how we're going to make our people less vulnerable in the future. So vulnerability is being discussed at every level, be it education, be it the corporate sector, be it the vulnerability of a beggar, be it the vulnerability of a daily wage earner, an electrician, a carpenter, a construction worker. So how is it that we make each circle less vulnerable? So whether it's about making sure that even at the below the poverty line, there are people who have multiple incomes in their families.
Yes.
So that makes them less vulnerable.
That is,
making sure that their children get educated so they have a brighter future, that makes them less vulnerable. Making sure that there is some kind of insurance they can fall back upon.
That's very well put, Snigdha-ji. And why I want to initiate this question to you, Prapti-ji, is you are coming from a background of food, and sustainability is something which I'm really talking these days when it comes to food, wastage, using your essentials well. Now the time has come where I have been in dialogue with so many different women, and everyone has to say one thing, that we are becoming more vigilant and intelligent towards using the essentials. We are understanding what wastage is more, and we are able to preach that better to our family, to our children. How are you thinking the sustainability is it going to have new norm, or what do you think according to you sustainability is going to rise up to?
Definitely, I think this is a very important question which you asked, that the things which we took for granted earlier, and that we shall not take that for granted anymore.
True.
We look into the small things and how to use it to the maximum, to utilize it so that everything is used properly.
True.
And also to reduce the wastage in the house would be to balance out the menu in such a way that everyone gets their whatever they want to eat, as well as reduce the wastage.
True.
I think a homemaker has to be very sensitive and not take things for granted anymore.
True. That is a very, very decent approach to sustainability, Prapti-ji. And coming to you, Divya-ji, I have this question where I think we Indians, we have a heritage where we are from the land of the Vedas, of the Upanishads, of so much of spiritual healing, which got flamed under modernism, which sort of got undermined because of the Western culture being so strong in our country lately. But now this lockdown, so many of us are going back to spiritualism. Do you think that this was always there? Do you think that this is a time where we are finding our roots back to it? Are you, experiencing people around you who are becoming spiritual and who were not there before? Because I think whether it is economics or socialism or education or spiritualism or sustainability or philanthropy, everything is interlinked. They all form the different organs of a human mind, body, and soul. So, what do you have to say about spiritualism, Divyaji?
I feel meditation and introspection, everything was there earlier also. And people had the complaint that I don't have time for me time.
Yeah, true.
Even if they're not doing any introspection now, then they are to be blamed for themselves.
Yes, I think this is very intelligent.
Time, you're not doing it.
Yeah, I think this is a time to introspect more than to retrospect, because it is more to look inwards than outwards, and that's where all the answers are going to be. And before we wrap up today's session, I have two very important questions to ask. One to you, Signaji, where I find that we humans celebrate life. We humans celebrate death. We humans celebrate marriage. We love hugging. Social distancing has a new norm now. How is it going to be awakened to? How are we going to manage these celebrations in the near future?
Well, I mean, everything is going to have to be virtual for some time. I mean, it's really sad. More, what pinches the heart more are the sad occasions, and when you really want to be with your near and dear ones. Of course, I've heard of friends whose marriages have, gotten postponed, and people are having to deal with this uncertainty. But we are hoping that the medical fraternity is able to develop something soon enough. And till then, of course, we will have to take a lot of precautions. What's absolutely essential will have to go on in a very controlled environment. True. And what is not so essential will have to happen in a more virtual kind of a setting. True. And with time, things will ease out and people will also get used to it. So a sort of pattern will develop. True. The beautiful thing about our minds is that we get accustomed to things very quickly.
Yes.
I think it's just about that conditioning. We have to let go of the earlier conditioning and adopt the new ways of thinking.
Do you think luxury is going to be redefined? Praptiji, could you hear me? Do you think luxury is going to be redefined? Do you think that we are going to look at luxury with a different perspective altogether?
Definitely. Luxury is a very relative term depending on the situation one is in. From a different perspective, as Snigdha just mentioned, that the things we took for granted, like a hug or a handshake, is an unaffordable luxury now.
Yes.
But going back to the context, luxury will definitely be redefined, and it will not be a priority. There will be a decrease in the willingness to spend, along with heightened social consciousness to be kinder and more compassionate to the society, and heightened environmental consciousness. So I think, luxury will
I think that's a very beautifully put, Signaji, the way Praptiji has said that even like a handshake and a hug is going to be a luxury, and people are going to get very conscious in terms of the buying power. So, we were just losing out and because of your internet connectivity, I had this question to you that food and travel and garments, everything is going to be seeing a new sun altogether. All the industries are going to probably, they would not know whether they have to scale up or scale back their production. Absolutely. What do you have to say about this?
Times are uncertain, Vaijayanti ji, and I hear these discussions happening in my own house. How do we predict the next season? How much to make? How much will be able to how much is the market going to demand? Every organization is talking about it. Even a technology company doesn't know how many people to recruit. Whether companies are going to come back with a similar volume of business or they're going to shrink the orders. So I think this uncertainty is something that will be there for some time. There's a lot of mentorship. There's a lot of discussions and cooperation happening, a lot of facilitators actually coming out, and at least in the philanthropic space, because who's going to answer these questions? If I have these 10 questions in my mind, it gives me comfort to know that maybe 10 other organizations also have the similar questions. So
Yeah.
I think if we can collaborate, and if people with a better sense into it can come forward and say that we're willing to hold discussions, or we're willing to mentor you, that will go a long way in helping smaller businesses understand how to deal with it. And I think that's where the chambers and organizations that have access to both government and to corporates play a very important role, where they can actually pass on the policymakers' decisions or information to the companies from time to time, to enable them and also help answer their questions.
Yes, because
So,
I think now the way a CEO is going to be handling his company is going to be very different. It's going to be like a war zone to handle such a crisis if ever it happens in his or her office, And I think chambers can really put in an important, message there through workshops or, joint talks between the government and the corporates, wherein a lot of emphasis creates on the topic of an exit policy. To have an exit policy now is very, very important, because we have realized one thing, that nothing is for sure and anything at any time can hit us. So yes, today's Freedom Revisited was all about that. But before we wrap up today's session, I would really ask my dear panelists, in case they would like to have a last share of something else that they want to tell the audience today. And we would start with you, Prapti ji.
The only thing I want to say is that stay calm, and we should all emerge as a better human being and be kinder and more compassionate and give back whatever we can to the society.
True. Divya ji, please.
It's just be safe and stay home.
Yes, stay home and stay safe. Snigdha ji.
I would just like to say, again, I keep going back to philanthropy, but, I feel that this is, a forum for me to share what I'm feeling. Yeah. And I would just like to say that it's very important that all of us give back in whatever way we can, not necessarily money, give back in time, give back in terms of time, give back in terms of ideas, share things, with your immediate circle, share maybe even a small video with your staff, something that I have received from my daughter's school. If I can just, package it and share it with my staff to share with her daughter, that's going to keep that child's brain active, because she's not able to go to school. So, things like this, wherever we can, sort of try and give back. And I would just request that, companies, that the recovery phase is coming. So, that's when a lot of people who have lost their jobs will need to be put back into the system. So a lot of philanthropic work would be required then. So I'm soliciting the support of a lot of companies at that stage. True. And of course, stay safe, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so very much. And I think as the moderator of today's session and the founder of Sonali's Cubo, it was a pleasure to host you. And I would like to wrap up today's session by saying that we can go on talking about the negativity that this pandemic has brought to us. But to take the affirmations ahead is the only way out. We have learned a lot through this pandemic, which has hit us. We have understood that we can be globally united. We've understood that the pandemic treats the vulnerable, the more hit are the more vulnerable part of our community, the daily wage workers in India, or it is marginally, the caste and the homeless, which are going to be affected more through it. But one more thing that we have learned is that we can reach out to them if we want to. Again, philanthropy, where it is going to play its part, Snigdha ji. So I think, yes, we have learned that technology is a savior. We have learned that the environment can be made to a better use. We've understood that the pandemic has cleared the aquatic, and there's a drop in air pollution and the carbon emission. There's so much positive has also come out of this pandemic. But yes, we have many miles to cross and win this as together as a human race, looks up and faces to it. And I think we should get into some more discussions in near future as the MLF body of the chamber, and take this discussion ahead. Today we had little internet connection issues, Stigdachi, but hopefully next time we will be more prepared with our internet, and probably the discussion is going to be more fruitful. And I personally had a wonderful time sharing my views with all of you and hearing to all of your intelligent communications. So thank you all very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Vajayanti. Thank you so much for being such an awesome moderator. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will see you all very, very soon. Stay home and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.